Do you want to win something? Do you want a chance of having a $25 gift card to Barnes & Noble's? Well, this is the place to get one. This is a contest that I'm doing. It's not really a contest. It's just a fun bingo that I've been planning to do since the beginning of May. I was talking to my husband about it. My summertime bingo card. It's actually really small and you have 3 months to do it. I'll start at June 1st. This video comes out right before June. I'll give you until September 5th to send this to me. And then I will choose a winner. Maybe one of my kids will pick out the winner. So if you just want to send me the image, you can do it on Instagram or Discord. I'm Hot Cocoa and Books on Instagram and I'm Justice Pirate on Discord. And I will contact you if you win as well. I'll send you an e-gift card. Let's go over this bingo. So island vibes. This is where any type of island, even if it's Ireland, please, hopefully there will be summertime island vibes. Or even if someone's pulling a party in a book and it's like island theme, whatever. If there's a Caribbean island, Hawaii, if it's an island on the coast of Alaska, you know, because they have lots of islands there, Greenland, the Philippines, you know, whatever. It has to be an island, an actual island that exists. The next is ahoy, a ship or boat on the cover. I love maritime. I love ships. I love boats. I love pirates, but I don't like piracy, but I like the idea of pirates and living on boats and stuff like that. Tiny boats. If it's a gondola, if it's a rowboat, whatever type of boat or ship has to be on the cover. There are so many options for that. I have seen many, many, many books with ships on it. This should be an easy one. I didn't want this to be tough, by the way. All right, next is the summer sport mention. Now, all you have to do, look up the Olympics and see like a list of summer Olympic sports. You could do archery if there's archery in it, running, hurdling. It could be baseball. It could be field hockey. It could be gymnastics. Next one is a bicycle on the cover. I am obsessed with riding bikes and cycling, and I have always wanted to do this prompt because I've read many, many books with bicycles on it. And there's even a book coming out that I know that will be my choice for this, but there are lots of books with bikes on it. I've seen them. Relaxing mood read. This is anything that makes you feel relaxed. If there's just something that you're like, I want to read this, and that's it. This is like your free bingo piece. A wedding. I know there are so many books with weddings. I got married in June. Wedding season starts usually June through September. Next is a sea creature. This could be anything you would find in the sea, from fish to octopi, turtles, sharks, whales, narwhals, seals, and you know what? I'll even accept a kraken, the Loch Ness Monster. I'll accept those. It has to be a sea creature. So if you want to read like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, that would be like a good one. There are so many sea creature stories that you could choose for this. A barbecue or a gathering with food. I think this will be the one that will be hard for me to choose personally, because I plan on doing this too. I'm not going to win anything. If you read a 4th of July book, there's going to be barbecues. You know, there are a lot of feasts. Like for instance, when I read Alliance Bride, they had a lot of feasts together, you know, something where there's a book with feasts of some sort. You could so find that. Have fun with that. Like I know lots of books that I've read that have them. They're coming to mind. And the last one is Vacation, a book where a character goes away on a trip. This is all over the place. I am sure you could find this easily. People saying like, I know a lot of those rom-com books. It's like they broke up and then they're going away on a trip. Even if it's in the same country, if they're going away, that's great. I really was wanting to do like something with camping, but this could be a camping trip too. So like I said, if they want to go on a camping trip, a road trip to another country, across an ocean, whatever it might be, if there's some sort of trip, if it's not like to the next town, okay? It has to be like an actual, they're planning to go away somewhere. So that's it. It should be pretty easy. If it's difficult, I mean, you've got 3 months to try to find something to do, 9 books. So just think about doing 3 books per month that you could find. And if you want to do this in a month, and if you finish it and you want to send it to me right away, you can do that, and I will hold on to that. I will put your name on a list ready to go. I hope you have fun. I hope you participate. Now let's get to the books that I read that I'm going to review. I need to start with the Metamorphosis. This surprised me. This was really good, and I didn't think I would like it. I had heard stuff about it. I was like, this sounds like it's gonna be a little weird, but no, I loved this. This is a short story. This whole book is not actually it. The rest are notes on the text. So if you want to read notes on it, go for it. And it's only 55 pages. I am so impressed that after I finished it, I sat there about to break down. It was so touching and so sad. So let me tell you about this. Gregor is this guy. He has his own place, but his parents and his sister live with him. His dad doesn't work. He is the sole provider. This book was written in the early 1900s, 1915 or something like that. And so he is doing his best to provide for them. He's a traveling salesman, but he wakes up one morning and he is this giant beetle or cockroach, people say. He's a giant insect of some sort, like really, really giant, like almost human-sized giant is what I gathered from this. He's disfigured in different ways, and we start to learn how he goes from this guy that is important to the family to being someone that is ignored, isolated, not cared for, and the abuse that his father impales on him is just really sad. He is pretty content the best he can. He just can't communicate anymore. And there are other things that happen in this that is just so sad, because you learn about his family and his thoughts and about him. And I feel like he's very much like, I don't know if this was on purpose, but there were so many things in here that made me think that he was like a Christ figure. Just the way he lived his life, it reminded me of Jesus. There's even a point where there was something that reminded me of when Jesus was speared. And if you have read this, you could probably pinpoint that as well. It was gorgeous writing. I'm blown away, but it was so fascinating, so beautiful. Like I said, I was so touched by this, very touched. For content, it was just the way that he was treated by his father, really. There's depression in this, I guess you could think, because if you're going through what he went through and you're isolated, there's a lot of those feelings that you get. The end is just really sad, but then they like make it seem rosy on top of it too. So it's just weird, but it was so good. The Vanishing Cherry Blossom Bookshop was an excellent idea for me to read. I wanted to read this in April when all the sakura trees were growing around me. I was like, oh, there's all these blossoms everywhere. But I read it in very early May and there are still some blossoms out there. So this is perfect to read in April. This is where there's this bookshop owner and she has a cat. If she's reading a book and say this other person's reading the same book. So the first book I think that was talked about was The Little Prince. Then that person could like end up in this cafe in this bookshop because it's both. Or they like come across it and they go inside, say, I haven't seen this here. Or even in a dream, they might go in it if they had been reading a book. It's just interesting how different people go in different ways. As she'll explain like, oh, yes, that book. And she'll start giving some history about the book. And you're kind of like, whoa, she's very informational. And then you start to learn about the characters that are visiting, what their stories are. And as my family has been dealing a lot with grief over the past several months, late November, I had a miscarriage. And then late February, 3 months exactly later, is when my sister-in-law died. So my family's been dealing with a lot. This is called like healing genre. I've read these types of stories for like years, and I only recently heard about it being called such a thing. I was like, oh, cool. And it totally was healing for me. Like it brought up a lot of my thoughts to be able to gather and to understand a little bit better. And so it made me really happy to read this. It was touching, but sad as well. So there is grief, there is death, and that's really the only content you have to worry about for this one. It was really sweet and heartwarming, but really sad. Back in April, I didn't review this because I wanted to hold on to it because I wanted to finish the last 3 books of this series. But the Secrets of Ormdale series, I've been reading this, and the 3rd book is what I read in April. That's Castle of the Winds. So if you don't know this story, Edith, she writes books. Her family moves to this estate to kind of help her cousins. Edith, she starts to uncover different things about herself, and then she learns about this whole society dealing with dragons. And it's fascinating. So in this book in particular, I don't want to give too much away if you haven't read the first book, but in the 3rd book, she goes to Wales to find out something. She goes there with Simon, who we met through the first 2 books, but there is someone there named Arthur Pendragon, and not the Arthur Pendragon, but a descendant. So it was an interesting story. I really liked this one. It was probably my 2nd favorite in the series. It was filled with adventure, so I thought that was great pacing, how it was like always something amazing happening, or even a discovery of something, or good conversations. We learn about a lot of these other characters that are tied into the main characters, and it was fascinating. For content, there was a sexual assault that had started, but it stops and we don't get any details. There are content warnings at the beginning of this book, which I appreciate that the author does that. More authors need to do that. There is someone that is born out of wedlock and it's talked about. I don't remember anything else. There's some deceit in this. For City of Serpents, the next book, This one was probably my least favorite in the series. I just felt like it took a dark turn. It changed to me Edith's character, where she was like the strong-willed woman who was very opinionated and she was really great at figuring things out. And here is like she's almost become less intelligent and like doesn't really know what she's doing. And I just feel like they took away who she was. She does learn a bit more about herself again. She's also going through some pain, so maybe that's why her character is like that, because she's dealing with some stuff. But she's trying to be a bit undercover. She's trying to learn about this one doctor because there's someone that she is trying to find. There's a lot of heavy things in this book. There's anti-Semitism. There's also labor and sex trafficking mentioned, but without any details at all. It is brought up that someone took their own life. There are people that are drugged. There's opium in this. There is smoking and drinking. There are people with injuries. There's violence. But then going into the last book, which is really big actually. This is like over 500 pages, but I was really invested in it the whole time. It was interesting. I liked this. This is my favorite of the books. Valley of Dragons. Edith now, she's back home. This is great because her whole family is in this, and I really love how they come together and like help her in different ways. It was so good. She learns more about her mother's family in this. Simon, he learns a bit more about himself in this as well. This one is a little more sweet. Out of all the books, this is the sweetest. And it has, you know, trying to find out the fate of the dragons. And it's just really well written. I enjoyed it a lot. We do find out that there was a character that was about to commit polygamy at one point, so that was a little weird. There are talks about affairs and taking multiple partners. There's deceit and lies. Human trafficking, again, extended from the last book. Mistreatment of dragons. There is a woman that goes through miscarriages, and there is talk about a death of a baby, something not talked about in detail. And there's a character that smokes. There's drinking in this as well, but there's no drunkenness. There is the character that throws up, and there's theft. Mandy. This one, I wanted to read this. This was written by Julie Andrews. It says Edwards, but that was her married name. Some copies say Julie Andrews Edwards. So she wrote this like right after doing Mary Poppins, which was my most watched movie in my childhood. I was obsessed, and I have seen lots of her movies. I love her. So anyway, she wrote this, so I was like, I need to read it. But when I started reading this, I felt like I was reading a Walmart version of The Secret Garden. I'm so sorry. But then when we got halfway through it, it gets really good and it changes a lot of the stuff that happens. So this little girl, Mandy, she's an orphan, and she sees this wall. She discovers that she wants to look over this wall, and then she becomes fascinated with flowers, plants. There's lots of talk about different flowers in this, which was really pretty to envision. But she has so much lying that she does. She gets herself into little scrapes and trouble. I feel like she kind of gets away with things. I don't know. I don't think it was handled well. This starts out in spring, but when we get to like winter time, which this is a good one to read in either spring or Christmas time. In the winter, there's something major that takes place. And then she finds out that instead of isolating herself from all these people like she was doing while becoming obsessed with this situation with the flowers, she finds community and she finds people. And there's something that she decides at the very end of this that was creative and beautiful, that brought more of that sense of community in it. So it was cute. There is one D word in this, and there's the lies and deceit. It was a nice story. I'm glad I read it. It wasn't incredible, but it was cute. Keeper of My Heart. I've talked a lot about this series. This is the 6th book. This just came out in April. I could not wait to get it before April. I was like looking forward to when it was going to be available in paperback, because she usually has this available on her website, the paperback version, later. Everything is usually you could buy them on Amazon. I buy these directly from her website instead. So I've read all the novellas and all the books. If you want to read this one, you have to read the other books. A lot of characters come up that were in past stories. And Cecilia is the main character of this one, as well as a guy named Jimmy. I'll get to that in a second. But Cecilia, she's in the first book as a baby, and now she's a woman. I love how we finally got like her story, because 2 stories ago, we had her brother Thomas's story. And 2 stories ago is where we met Jimmy. And Jimmy, he's a pharmacist. So Thomas is a doctor, and they met when they were in Philadelphia. He comes to Missouri. This is set in 1877. The first book is before the Civil War. Now he is going to learn about herbs and different things to try to improve his knowledge that he already has. He like knows all the Latin names and stuff like that. What I love about her writing, by the way, is her faith is so amazingly put through these books. Like, we don't get just like, oh, someone said a prayer or maybe a scripture. We get where there is depth to it, and them searching or trying to find where is God in this, and so much beauty. That there's a scene that Jimmy has in this where it's just so beautiful. really good faith elements. So I think she's one of the best Christian authors to write about faith elements, because sometimes you'll have it like scattered here and there in some books, but her books, it's always strong. I really appreciate her and her writing. So the next book that comes out is the last in the series, and it comes out later this year. And I look forward to it, but I'll be kind of sad. And so I hope to read more of her books. She's written other books and I haven't read them. So eventually I hope to read all of them to see what her other books are like. But in this one, what I want to warn is that there is a whole like epidemic that happens in this. And it's really sad because it wipes out several people. Be prepared for some sad situations. But I think that what's good about this is that when you are side by side with someone working with them, you get to know them slowly. So this is like a slow burn. There's not loads of conversation between the two main characters. I would have liked a little bit more of that. But when they do have conversations, they're good. But yeah, I would have liked a little bit more development of a relationship. For other content in this, there is a character that's a little bit pushy. Yeah. Oh, Cecilia, by the way, she works with her father. She's a very strong woman who works as a rancher. I really thought that was interesting and really cool. There are injuries as an effect of illness. It's really sad, but this was such a good book. I really liked it. I gotta tell you about a disappointing read. E.M. Forster, I have read, this is the fourth book now I've read. I love his writing. It's funny. Let me just tell you a little story. I have this book on my TBR list for the year. I had chosen it. I wanted to read it. And my husband, he starts reading the book. I was like, that's on my list. Let's read it together. He's like, oh, I didn't know. So we start reading it together. We start talking about it as we go through it. We were so confused. We're like, wait, who's this person? We didn't understand all the characters. They're just like different ones. And then they also use first names, last names. And we're like, wait, which person is this? So it just gets a little bit confusing, but it's mainly about this guy named Ricky. He's 20 when this book starts. He has a friend named Ansel. They're in college together. Ricky, he sees this couple and he's like very into this couple. It's very strange. He becomes like a little bit infatuated with the girl from this couple. Her name is Agnes, and she suffers some losses in her life. And it's just really weird, but it talks about what it's like to grow up basically and live your life, go through things, discovering things, some things that could be upsetting, and maybe it could affect your family. But it was just so boring. We did get some really good nuggets from this of like the way things were written. So for instance, there's a quote that I really liked that I got from this. On the banks of the gray torrent of life, love is the only flower. I thought that was beautiful. And I told it to my husband. He's like, yeah, I like that too. So yeah, we buddy read this, which we've done this several times. We read lots of books together, but we didn't like this one. We were a bit bored by it. Here's another quote that I did like from it though. He was thinking of the irony of friendship. So strong it is and so fragile. We fly together like straws in the eddy to part in the open stream. Nature has no use for us. She has cut her stuff differently. That was really cool, but you don't get a lot of that throughout this book, just like little bits here and there. Otherwise, even though I love the way he writes, the story was just like, it jumps in different places and then it jumps back without really explaining it. And suddenly you're like, wait, who are these characters? Oh, okay, they're those people. Why did they suddenly come up? So it's like the way it goes, it just didn't make sense at time. We struggled with this and we were like, we couldn't wait to finish the book, to be honest with you. Faithful of Heart. This was an interesting book. I felt like it took some time for me to get into this, but it wasn't bad. The main character's name is Judith. She is really lovely, but my problem with her is that she's like Miss Sunshine no matter what. She has no problems at all. There's nothing negative about her. We can't find any faults with her. Everything she does is perfect. And I'm just going to say that that's how I felt reading this book. I felt like there was nothing wrong with her. At the beginning of this book, we learned that her whole family is dead and she's going through like explaining, you know, what happened to her family, and she grieves them and she misses them. So she does have like actual emotions and feelings, but it's just like, despite that, she's like, well, gotta keep moving on, you know, in a way. And she lives in Philadelphia, but she goes to Minnesota because she has this grandfather she's never met before who wants an heir for all of his money. He's very, very rich, but she has never met him. He was not nice to her family and her father. So she's kind of very outspoken towards him, which he likes, which I feel like, you know, they never met, and I don't know. It was very strange, but She was very like, I felt self-righteous in the way she talked to him at times too. I just thought it was odd. But anyway, there is this one doctor named Roman. So she's very into charity work. She's heavily involved with helping people. And in her work, she met this doctor named Roman. Now, here's what's weird to me. So these are my problems with this book. I love the story. It's actually a really good story. But my problem is that Roman and Judith, they met each other like 4 years earlier or something, but supposedly they're always thinking about each other, but they haven't seen each other since. That's just weird. Roman, he is in Minnesota. He hears about someone being related to the grandfather, her grandfather, and he is a man that he has a really hard time with because he didn't treat his family correctly, and he has major grudges and almost a hatred towards this man because he's just a terrible person. So when Roman finds out that the daughter is someone he actually knows and keeps thinking about, he's like, oh, well, it would be nice to see her again. And he's very respectful and he's not like obsessive, but there is the lawyer of the grandfather who is like, doesn't understand he doesn't understand simple language basically of being rejected. And he thinks like, oh yeah, he wants Judith. Basically, because if she's gonna get money, he wants that money. But he like becomes so obsessed with her. So you have both Roman and this other guy who are like obsessed with her, but they handle it differently. It's just kind of like strange. It gets to be kind of crazy. It's a good story. There is this whole theme of forgiveness in it and about allowing God to guide your life. But I will say that this book actually inspired me with certain decisions because of the fact that it has to deal with some grief issues that both of the characters are going through, and then dealing with her grandfather. It made me realize some things that I needed to do in my own life. So it actually helped inspire me to do something that I did the day that I was reading this. It helped me make a quick decision that was a good decision that people didn't think I would make. There's a major situation that happened in my family that I made this quick decision and I was like, I didn't regret it at all. And I was like, that was a good decision. And it was because of this book. So it was inspiring, but it was also a little weird at times, but it was also good. I don't know how to explain that. I gave this 3.5 stars, just so you know. So it's like better than average, but I had some issues. For content, there is talk about children and people in general dying. There is an infant death in here. She's doing charity work. There are people that they interact with, and it's really sad. It's heartbreaking. There's violence. There's drinking. There is a situation with murder brought up, and how there's greed, and there is mistreatment of a woman trying to force her against her will to do something. And the last book to talk about, I'm sorry, this is so long, but this is a great video. I'm having fun recording it. You Have a Calling. This book, I put this on my spring list. I had been wanting to read this for a while. Then I found out that this won an award, like a Christian award for some, I forget exactly what the name of the award was. Cool, I'm about to read it and it just won an award. So anyway, this is about finding your vocation in true good and beautiful. And I was like, okay, well, what's that mean? So in my own life, I have had lots of different changes of what I thought God was leading me to do. There were things that I wanted to do that I didn't end up doing. There were things that I always wanted to do that I did do. So it's like, I can understand how sometimes what God leads you in, sometimes he can lead you in other places too, and it kind of can swivel. And this talks a bit about that. Some people feel like they have just one calling. Maybe they don't think that certain things they're doing is their calling, but it is. So it's just an interesting understanding. But as much as she did quote some scriptures here and there, I feel like she quoted Cal Newport more than anything. And I recently read his digital minimalism book. I was just like, if I wanted to know about Cal Newport so much, I'll read one of his books or I'll listen to his podcast some more. So I was kind of like, that's just weird that you're talking so much about Cal Newport. Like seriously, she quotes him a lot. So this isn't just about like business people. This is about just different things that you could be involved in. Our passions and callings and trying to understand the difference. The good work that we do. Finding how there's beauty at the end of it all. So it was good. I wasn't blown away. I was hoping for a lot better of a book, but it wasn't bad. It just wasn't something that was right for me at this time in my life. I think a lot of people would love this book. It just wasn't for me really. It was average. Well, that is everything. Again, please participate in my bingo that I'll be doing so you could win a gift card. I'm excited about it. I will have a link for you to download this image. I hope that you're able to participate. I don't know if many people will, but maybe only 2 people will participate and maybe 100 will. I don't know. It'll be fun though to see who does it. I had a really fun time coming up with these prompts, trying to decide. I actually took some out. I put back in some. I I was changing them. Like for 2 weeks, I kept rearranging things and changing them. Like I could have made this bigger, but I was like, I don't want it to be too crazy. I think 3 books per month for the summertime would be good. I hope to do this again, maybe in the winter time. Well, guys, go outside. I'm going outside with my little one today. I can't wait. It will be fun. Have a great week. And let me know if you've read any of these or if you want to read any, and tell me what you're reading now. Have a great day. Bye.